Hello, this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. And let's get started. I'm going to be using the painted poppies. I'll be using the poppies and this leaf here and this leaf here. I'm going to be using from the painted label dies this die there. I'm going to be using one of the masks. This is one of the newer ones. I'll be using a few Stampin' Blends. I have the Poppy Parade combo. I have the Dark Cherry Cobbler. I have the Old Olive combo. And I have a light Highland Heather. A tweezer just to help me put on that lace piece. I have a Memento ink pad, a crumb cake ink pad, a post-it note, some dimensionals. I'm going to be using the makeup brush, but you can use a sponge for this as well. And there's 3 of these peaceful poppy sequins on there, and I'd like to thank my friend Rebecca Bullock for sending them to me. It was part of a happy mail from her. Okay, now for the pieces of, I have a scrap of black, which I already cut out that lacy piece from so that I didn't have to do it on camera. I have a piece of black, which is 2 by 4 1/4. A piece of Poppy Parade, which is 1 7/8 by 4 1/8. You could probably go the opposite, where this was 2 by 4 1/4, and then just go a tiny bit larger for the black one, but I wanted more of the brown to show. The soft suede is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I have a piece of black, which is 5 3/4 by 4 1/8. And then I have my card base, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I've scored and folded it at 4 1/4. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, trying to find a place to put all these things so that they're not in the way. Let's put the black layer onto our white layer and get that put aside so it's one less thing. And I'm just going to use the Tombow Mono glue for that. You'll notice I'm using a good amount, but not an excessive amount. It's a thin all over layer. And there's going to be about 1/8 of an inch border. Okay, place this aside. Alright, let's do this layer next. Okay, so for this one, first thing I did was took the mask. I'm going to actually move this out of the way so I don't get ink on it. And I just lined up the mask. I'm going to bring in the crumb cake ink. And my applicator. And I just swirled on some of that ink. And I just sponged it like this. You can use the yellow sponges, those work good for this as well. This is what I used on the original, so I figured I'd show you what I actually did. Doesn't look like you're getting much on. When you lift it up, it's really quite a difference. It probably would help if you taped it together, like from the underneath side, put tape on the back of the paper and on the back of the mask. But I didn't worry about this section here too much because most of that's going to get covered up. But it's real subtle. You can just... Nice. Okay. So we'll put that aside. We're done with that. To clean the makeup applicator, you just wipe it on a microfiber cloth. Oops, I need this still. Alright, now I'm going to bring in this one from the Painted Poppies. And I'm going to stamp a couple of these on this background as well with this same crumb cake ink. It just gives a little bit of a texture to the background. And then I want one on this side. And one down here. And again, I didn't do a whole lot here because that's where the poppy part is going to go, so it's just going to cover it up anyway. So let me show you what I've got on here. I don't know if you can see them. There's just a couple going this way, one here, one going here, and one here. Okay, so we're done with that. We're done with the crumb cake ink. Now we're going to place this on top of this black layer. And I want the the heavier side to the right side. Okay, place that aside. Let's bring in our red layer. I'll bring my Stampin' Mat in. It just makes a little bit better of a stamped impression when I do. I bring in the larger of the two poppies. My Memento ink. Ink up the larger one. I'm going to stamp it down here. This bottom, it's about a 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. I already touched my paper. Let's see if I can get it to look good. That's not bad. A little bit of a halo, but not too bad a one. Let's bring in the smaller poppy now and get up well. I'm going to stamp it just above this one. Now I'm going to bring in this leaf, and I'm going to bring in those Post-it notes. And ink up that leaf. And so I don't want all of the stem, so I'm going to take my Post-it note and I'm just going to put it over the image of the flower so that it'll mask off some of that leaf. And I'm going to stamp the leaf here. Then I'm going to find the sticky side of my Post-it note and I'm going to stamp it onto there, and I'm going to cut it out, and I already have one. Where did it go? So then I'm going to put that mask on there. And you'll notice when on my mask, let me take it back off so I can show you, I've cut inside the line so that when you stamp on top of it, you don't get that halo where there's no stamping. Okay, put that back on. Look this up again. I'm going to come over here, mask my flower a little bit. You could make a mask for your flower as well if it's easier, but I just found it easier to do it this way. Okay. Take that mask off. That makes this leaf look like it's in front of that one. I'm going to put a leaf over here. And I want one down here. This one doesn't. Just put this so that it doesn't go off my page onto the. And one over here. Okay, we're done with our stamping. Okay, now we're going to bring in our markers. Now you could use it like this. It's really pretty like this as well. But I wanted to color it in and add a little bit of oomph to it. And where did my black piece go? My other layer. Haha, here it is. Okay. Thought I lost it for a minute. Okay. So I'm going to bring the red ones in first. And I'm going to take the dark of the Poppy Parade. And I like to use the brush tip. And then all these darker areas, wherever it's going to be folded over or underneath something, I'm going to add this darker color. The bottoms of the petals here where the center meets it, add some in there. Okay. And I'm going to bring in the lighter one and blend that out a little bit. Add a little bit of this lighter one to the bottom edge of these curled under flowers. The highlighted sections I'm not putting anything on. The parts where it would be, where it's turned up. Okay. Then I'm coming in with the dark cherry cobbler, and this time I'm going to use the tiny end. And wherever it's folded over, I'm going to put some of this darker color closer to the end. Or closer to where it would be folded over. Just adds a little bit more of a contrast or depth. Not necessary, the two colors work nice, but I just like that little bit of extra oomph. Okay, I'll go back with this light one and just a little bit more, blend this a little bit more in here. A little bit more in here. take the green one and I'm going to go over these leaves where the seams are, and then where they'd be shadowed by the flower. Okay, then I'm going to take the purple one and I'm just going to go all the way around the outside of my image to kind of make a shadow around it. You could go over this and add more darkness if you want, or more lightness, however you want to do it. Trying to squeeze this video in. My husband's been out of work for like 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks, because he cut his thumb on the table saw. So it makes it very difficult to be able to film anything, because he likes to do things that are noisy. Alright, and that's going to get mounted onto this piece. Add a little bit more of this dark color. A little bit more of this dark contrast in these darker areas. This needs a little bit of something else. A little bit more. Alright, let's mount that onto our black piece. Okay, let's flip it over, add some dimensionals on the back of it. Bring this in. Okay, this gets mounted over here. It's about 1/2 inch from the edge, equal distance from this and this side. Okay, I'll bring in that black piece. I forgot to do the sentiment. That's what the tweezers are for. It makes it just a little bit easier to get it where you want it. Slide this in here under this edge. Down a little bit more. Right there. There you go. Just add your sentiment and a couple of rhinestones, and there's our card. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find some time to play with some stamps, inks, and paper.